Oluchi was a woman who commanded any room she entered, her presence as striking as the skyscrapers she designed in Lagos. Even heavily pregnant, her famous figure-eight silhouette remained evident beneath her flowing Ankara gowns, a testament to the beauty that had made her a campus legend years ago. She was married to Chike, a successful cement distributor whose laugh could shake the foundations of their Banana Island home. They were the picture of a perfect Nigerian couple, blessed with wealth and deep affection, yet they had prayed fervently for the fruit of the womb. When the news finally came, it was a double portion of joy. Their home was filled with anticipation. Oluchi spent her days adjusting blueprints for the nursery, ensuring every angle was safe for two energetic boys. Chike was ecstatic, already boasting to his business partners about his incoming heirs. He had purchased 2 small plots of land in Ibeju-Lekki, deeds already signed in names they hadn't yet chosen. They were building a legacy, unaware that the foundation was about to be cracked by forces beyond their control. The air in their home was thick with hope, but outside, the harmattan winds whispered of a coming storm that would scatter their carefully laid plans like dust in the wind. The scan appointment had been the highlight of their year. The private clinic in Victoria Island was cold and smelled of lemon antiseptic. The sonographer, a cheerful woman with braided hair, had glided the wand over Oluchi's gel-slicked belly. "Look there," she had pointed at the monitor, where 2 distinct heartbeats pulsed like tiny rhythmic drums. 2 boys, strong ones. Chike had nearly wept, gripping Oluchi's hand until her knuckles turned white. It was the confirmation of every prayer he had whispered during morning devotion. They left the clinic floating on air. They argued playfully over names in the car. Chike wanted traditional names that spoke of strength. Oluchi wanted names that spoke of grace. They settled on Kamsiochukwu and Obinna. They bought matching blue cribs, blue onesies, and even miniature football jerseys. The certainty of the scan gave them a false sense of security. They believed science was infallible, that the grainy black and white image was a binding contract with destiny. They did not know that human greed could rewrite biological facts, or that a desperate man with a gambling debt was about to turn their double blessing into a lifelong mystery. Dr. Olu sat in his office in Ikeja, staring at the betting slip in his trembling hands. The fan overhead clicked rhythmically, mocking the countdown to his ruin. He owed millions to a loan shark who didn't care about medical ethics, only repayment. His clinic, once thriving, was now a hollow shell, funded by lies and sustained by cutting corners. He needed a miracle, or a crime, to survive the week. That was when his phone rang. It was Mrs. Eze, a wealthy woman from Magodo, who had been visiting him for fertility treatments for years without success. "I need a son, doctor." Mrs. Eze's voice was desperate, cracking with the weight of her husband's ultimatum. "My husband will take a second wife if I don't give him an heir this year. I have the money, 5 million naira, cash, no questions." Dr. Olu's eyes darted to the patient file on his desk, Oluchi's file. She was due any day now. Twin boys. The devil whispered a solution in his ear, a solution that was cruel but lucrative. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and whispered, "I might be able to help you, madame. Prepare the money." Labor began on a Tuesday evening, not with a gentle warning, but with a ferocious intensity that brought Oluchi to her knees. It was 2 weeks early. Panic set in as Chike fumbled for the car keys, dropping them twice. The drive should have been simple, but Lagos traffic was a beast that respected no emergency. The third mainland bridge was a parking lot of red taillights, immovable and indifferent. Oluchi groaned in the backseat, clutching her stomach as contractions ripped through her. "We can't make it to the hospital in VI." Chike shouted over the blaring horns, swerving the SUV toward the mainland exit. "We have to go to Dr. Olu's clinic in Ikeja. It's closer." It was a decision made from desperation, a fateful turn of the steering wheel that sealed their destiny. They arrived at the clinic just as the rain began to fall, heavy sheets of water that blurred the world outside. Dr. Olu met them at the entrance, not with the calm demeanor of a savior, but with the frantic energy of a man whose trap had just been sprung. He ushered them in, locking the heavy iron gates behind them. The clinic was strangely empty, the usual nurses absent, replaced by a single grim-faced midwife whom Oluchi didn't recognize. The lighting in the delivery room was dim, casting long, dancing shadows against the tiled walls. Dr. Olu insisted Chike wait in the reception, citing complications and the need for a sterile environment. Chike argued, his instinct flaring up, but the fear for his wife's life silenced him. He paced the hallway, the sound of the rain drumming against the roof matching the frantic rhythm of his heart. Inside, Oluchi was given a sedative that made the world spin. She felt detached, floating above her own body. "Push, Oluchi, push!" Dr. Olu's voice sounded miles away. Through the haze, she felt the pressure, then the release. A cry pierced the air, strong, vibrant. "A boy," the midwife muttered, placing the baby in a bassinet. Minutes later, the second pressure came. Another cry, identical to the first. Dr. Olu held up the second boy, his eyes gleaming not with joy, but with calculation. He nodded to the midwife, who quickly bundled the second infant away through a back door, vanishing into the stormy night. In the alleyway behind the clinic, the rain poured relentlessly. Mrs. Eze's black sedan was waiting, engine running. The midwife, shielding the bundle with her body, tapped on the window. The glass rolled down, revealing Mrs. Eze's terrified but determined face. The exchange was made in seconds, a heavy envelope of cash for a living, breathing human soul. Mrs. Eze sped off into the darkness, clutching the boy she would name Obina, leaving behind a hole in the universe that would take decades to fill. Back inside, Dr. Olu retrieved a third baby from the nursery incubator. This child was a girl, born that morning to a teenage runaway who had fled the clinic in shame, leaving the sick infant behind. The baby girl was pale, her breathing raspy and labored. Dr. Olu placed her in the bassinet next to Kamsi, the remaining twin boy. He took a deep breath, composing his features into a mask of professional concern. He washed the guilt from his hands with surgical soap, preparing to deliver the lie that would shatter a family. Chike rushed in when the door finally opened. "My wife? My boys?" he asked, his voice trembling. Dr. Olu removed his mask, looking solemn. "Your wife is stable, sleeping now, and you have a healthy, strong son." He gestured to the first bassinet. Chike's face lit up, but then he frowned. "A son? But the scan. We were told twins, 2 boys." Dr. Olu sighed, a practiced sound of regret. "The scan was misinterpreted, Mr. Chike. It happens. The second baby is a girl." He pointed to the second bassinet, where the frail baby girl lay. "And I must be honest," Dr. Olu continued, lowering his voice. "She is not doing well. She is very small, very weak. She was hiding behind the boy in the womb, which is why the scan was wrong. Her development, it is delayed." Chike looked at the girl. She looked nothing like the robust boy beside her. She looked nothing like Oluchi. A cold shiver went down his spine, but he pushed it away. He was a father. These were his children. He reached out to touch her tiny hand, unaware he was touching a stranger. Bringing the twins home was supposed to be a triumph. Instead, it felt like a funeral for a truth they couldn't name. Kamsi, the boy, thrived instantly. He latched onto Oluchi, ate voraciously, and his skin glowed with health. Amara, the girl, was a constant source of worry. She refused breast milk, vomiting it up as if her body rejected Oluchi's very essence. She cried constantly, a high-pitched, pained sound that grated on their nerves. The nursery, painted for 2 boys, felt wrong. They scrambled to buy pink clothes, but nothing seemed to fit her fragility. Neighbors visited, offering congratulations, but their eyes lingered too long on Amara. "She looks different," they would say politely. "Perhaps she takes after a distant aunt?" Oluchi would nod, forcing a smile. But late at night, she would stare at Amara's face, searching for a trace of herself, of Chike, of anyone she knew. She found nothing but a blank slate, a genetic mystery that lay in her arms, shivering despite the heat of the Lagos night.